responsibility that if you want this country to move on, Nigerians must change their attitudes. Lawyers particularly must also change their attitudes. It's not about making money at all costs to the detriment of generality of Nigerians. Election petitions, you have billions of naira being paid. And that you want to do everything possible to justify it, what you have earned. It's not done, it's callous.
Is it that there will be deliberate attempts by lawyers to frustrate the cases?
I am not indicting my colleagues. I am warning. And I'm warning Nigerians too. Because we are all involved in this project.
All right, we're painting a hypothetical situation. What happens, or could it be that, because there's some who subscribe to that school of thought, that you find deliberate attempts by lawyers to see how they could frustrate cases, knowing that there's a time limit with which some of these cases are got to be dispensed of?
Yes.
Does that happen?
It does. That's what I'm saying. It does happen. Because when you have an interlocutory application, it is your constitutional right to also appeal about a ruling that you think is not okay by you as a lawyer. You get to Court of Appeal, you get to Supreme Court. And
but isn't that part of the dynamics that you face in the profession while trying to win your case? Your opponent will be trying to outsmart you, while you in turn should do your best to ensure that, look, you get your case done. So as much as possible within the confines of the requirements of the law, you do what you have to do to make sure that your client wins.
It's good, it's possible. But I'm also saying that there's a thin line between law and morality. Morality and law overlaps.
But I thought they said the law is not about morals.
It's not about moral, but at times there are some moral issues that are also law. It's immoral for you to kill your fellow man being. And it's also illegal, unlawful to kill your fellow man being. There are things like a very thin line between morality and law. And I want to appeal to our conscience that we should also allow a little bit of morality, equity and good conscience to guide our proceedings.
Can that also be applied to the election process itself?
I want to enjoin Nigerians, politicians, lawyers, to please allow our conscience, our good conscience to work.
Talking about the elections and good conscience, the Senate also looked at the single-term recommendation. What's your take on that? They actually rejected the 6-year single-term recommendation.
Well, senators, in their wisdom, if that's their concurrence, that's their decision, I have nothing to say about it. If they have deliberated on it, the entire membership, and they probably felt that could be the best for this country, so be it.
But what's your take on a single term?
Well, I think if we want to be sincere with ourselves, 6 years is enough to do anything you want to do for any country. I'm sorry, I'm not going to advertise my club. Rotary is a non-governmental organization. In Rotary, 1 year off the stage, somebody comes in, and there's no third term. You won't come back. And within that 1 year, you plan your program, what you intend to do for the club and the society, and do that.
Isn't it different from when a country is involved?
6 years is enough for any governor or president or members of National Assembly. It's even different in National Assembly. You can come in and come back with experience, and probably that will help the country. But a governor and a president, 6 years is enough to do anything you want to do for the country and allow some people to come in. So everybody knows that the moment President Jonathan leaves the office, having spent 6 years, somebody else is coming in. Then there will be no heating of politics.
What if you did so well and the people want you back?
I was saying that before we knew President Jonathan, somebody was there as president.
It's not about the...
I'm not talking. I'm just talking. It's an hypothetical example. Before the Governor Fashola came in, somebody was there. And after he leaves, I am telling you, if the right thing is done, I am telling you somebody that's better than Fashola will come in. It is doing extremely well, and I'm telling you that if you look inward to look allegations, you get somebody else willing to work, if not more than Fashola.
But even if you go through some of these sections, and particularly with respect to this 6-year single term, the impression that some will have is, look, you know what it is. If one comes in, just do 1 term, and all that time that you need to plan. Look at the structure that we've got here, where people come into offices, they're not prepared for it. Some even, quote unquote, have to adjust themselves on the seat. So perhaps they want to see how they can factor all that in to ensure that at the end of the day, they deliver or do what the people expect of them.
My brother, from my experience in this country, I see second term as somebody coming back to, except in few states. Like Lagos State, I can say authoritatively that government is working in Lagos State. Because I live here, I live in Lagos State. There are other states where you have governors doing their second term. What they do is to amass wealth. Because they know they are not coming back. They are not coming back.
So you rather have them do
if you want to work here, you want to work, and leave the state for somebody else to come in.
Or amass wealth.
If you want to amass wealth, you come back and face the people too.
But let's look at this other one. This argument also made the round several times, how they tell you about the AGF and the Minister of Justice. I mean, some also argue. They say, look, in the previous republic, no, separate those offices. One is political, one should be professional, and then even lawyers have said so. Split both offices so that you know that the AGF and the Attorney General or Minister of Justice, yes, you can have your political positions, but do the job when you have to. But at the moment, it didn't pass. They struck it out.
From inception, the only office that has been respected even by the military has been the office of Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, both at the state level. Being together. The only office that military probably in the past has respected is that office. That has to be occupied by a lawyer. And if you have to split the offices, Minister of Justice and Attorney General, those offices will still have to be occupied by lawyers. And it's even good now that we have the fusion. One person who will see himself, if he wants to misbehave, I'm still the Attorney General of the Federation. Though I might be Minister of Justice, I'm still the Attorney General of the entire country. We see them being partisan. We are all human beings. But I'm saying that the fusion of those two offices, to my mind, is okay. That's my own humble submission. It's very okay.
All right, we'll go for the headline news now, but the comments coming through about those positions, we'll consider them. Ayatunde Balogun is standing by with the head. Thank you, Aya. Well, interestingly, the current AGF, Minister of Justice, welcomes that debate. He says, listen, he's been an advocate of that. Split the offices. He doesn't mind. But others think no.
Well, maybe he said that so that he would not be seen as probably he was too ambitious. Or probably he wants that office to be fused because it's there presently.
No, but to my before mind, he got there.
To my mind, my position is leave it the way it is.
Is it because of saving cost or effectiveness? Because there are those who will say that if they are separated, if there's a need to prosecute, the Attorney General can go ahead and do whatever prosecution there needs to be on behalf of the state, while the Minister of Justice carry on with the politicking that has to do with running the Ministry of Justice.
I believe Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's office, to my mind, a Minister of Justice oversees the Ministry of Justice. And for you to get to that level, you must also be a lawyer of immense standing in the society. And if we have the Attorney General at the helm of our affair, I don't think there's anything bad.
But don't you think that it waters down the impression and seriousness that people have and attached to that office, in the sense that you're combining a political position with a professional one? Political in the sense that if you're made a Minister of Justice, you'll always want to some extent, pander to the position of your appointee.
Employer.
Because that will happen, of course, within the confines of the law. But if you're the AGF, you have to be neutral, stand for the country, advise the president what is the right step to do, irrespective of whatever biases you may have. What do you think?
Who appoints the Attorney General? That's the question we must first ask ourselves. Who appoints the Minister of Justice? It's the same person, the president, who has the right to do that.
Does that play?
And in doing that,
yeah,
nobody can just pick me if I am not known, or there's no nexus between us. There must be some kind of nexus before somebody recommends you. And before you are recommended, there must be kind of nexus between you, the person that's recommending you, with those in power.
Supposing this goes through and the two offices are split, should the NJC not appoint the Attorney General?
That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. And as present, that's not the position.
Because the AGF is the head, and I mean, yes,
The chief law officer of the country.
chief law officer of Nigeria, and also the head of the Justice Ministry. But can the Minister of Justice be the chief law officer of the country?
Minister of Justice, we have to confine himself to the administrative positions within the Ministry of Justice.
That's what we're saying. So why not separate the two of them?
If you separate the two of them, nothing's wrong about it. What I'm thinking, as it is now, I am comfortable. This is my personal view. It's okay by me.
But we're talking tomorrow, not now.
For effectiveness, so to say, you've just convinced me now. Maybe I've changed my position. That's the truth. For effectiveness, for overseeing the Federal Minister of Justice, maybe we could have a Minister of Justice. For prosecution of matters in court, maybe we have Attorney General as the chief law officer of the country.
Because I'm not sure that the noble profession, I mean, the learned chaps will want to see where people keep talking about, no, you guys are playing politics with this, political decisions, courts giving political judgments. So it's almost in the same vein that they argue that, well, yes, you separate politics and ensure compliance with strict professional standards by persons who are competent. But as it were, it's up to when they do vote on that. In fact, they even voted and said the positions should stay together. But there were other recommendations also, which the National Assembly came up with, one of which is the Senate adopted the recommendation that removed a presidential assent to any bill altering the Constitution. Remember, this was a heated debate once upon a time where they said, no, the president need make no more input or passage or any assent. Just go ahead. Once we're done with this, that's the way it should be. But now, they seem to have tackled it headlong.
Recommendation that the
president doesn't need to assent to any bill altering the Constitution.
If you look at Section 9, I'm also an advocate of that position.
Okay.
Look at Section 9 very well. What is expected in Section 9 is for issues that has nothing to do with Section 8, which has to do with state creations and boundary adjustment. That's the only position that you need 4/5 of the entire membership of National Assembly. But in all issues that you want to amend the sections of this Constitution,